For some, this may seem like I'm just playing in the dirt, but there's actually a ton of life here, and I'm trying to see what I can find. Over the course of the pandemic, people have turned to the one place they can reliably get access to, the outdoors. It's spring right now, which means there's a lot of rain, but also a lot of new life. I'm here in the McCown Marsh, in Ottawa's Beechwood Cemetery, where I've spent a lot of time over the past year. But not everyone has the same access to outdoor spaces. I spoke with one person who's trying to change that.
My name is Mark Johnson. I'm an associate professor of biology at the University of Toronto, Mississauga, and the director of the Centre for Urban Environments, and I'm also the Canada Research Chair of Urban Environmental Science.
Welcome back to Biology in Your Backyard.
I'm Dr. Mark Johnson.
I'm Tamara. I'm May. And I'm Oscar.
And today is about trees in your neighborhood.
Last year, Mark started a YouTube series called Biology in Your Backyard to try to get more kids interested in the nature they can find right outside their doors.
I consider myself a naturalist. I became very passionate about nature and natural history, so the study of nature from a very young age. And I remember being a kid and wanting to be a part of a naturalist club, but there weren't really any naturalist clubs around us. And there certainly were no junior naturalist clubs, so naturalist clubs for younger people when I was growing up. And so the first exposure I had to a naturalist club was when we moved in my grade 9 year to Belleville, and there was a naturalist club there. And so in grade 9, I started going to these natural history clubs and learning more about natural history and other people that are interested in natural history, because I hadn't been introduced to a lot of people like that. And eventually this became my career. And here I am still doing it.
The other group of trees are part of what we refer to as the flowering plants. And they usually have big, broad leaves. And we often call them broadleaf trees.
Biology in Your Backyard was something that we started in the spring of 2020. And this is right when the pandemic of COVID-19 was really starting to increase and things were starting to shut down.
One thing you often find under logs and rocks are sow bugs, or also called woodlouse. And so this is one of the common species of woodlouse that you find underneath logs.
We use backyard in the most general sense. So we wanted these videos and the information that we were conveying to be as inclusive and for anyone that can get outside or even in their house.
With large logs, it could take a couple of people. So give this one a try.
So for someone that was living in an apartment building or a townhome or in a detached home or a condo downtown, so that they could go to, just outside your building, there's usually a little bit of lawn. What could you explore on that lawn around you? And then we were also thinking about what could you actually find in your own house, from, the centipedes in your own house to maybe even the cockroaches.
Come with me, and I'm going to show you a couple of things that you can see in many homes, and you can find out if you have this poop in your house too.
One perhaps surprising way that people without a background in science or conservation can connect with the natural world is through new technologies. Apps like iNaturalist can help anyone identify plants and animals they find and explore their natural surroundings. This looks like a cattail, but let's take a picture to make sure we know exactly what it is. Now we can upload this to iNaturalist and find out more.
All of these apps that are associated with natural history that help people engage with nature and are very valuable tools in that they help people learn about the natural world around them, but they also help us collect data that can be used to better understand biodiversity around us. And so iNaturalist is one that you mentioned, and it's not the only one, but iNaturalist is an outstanding way for people to learn.
Okay, so let's open up iNaturalist. Here on the main observations page, we can add in a new observation and pick out a few of the photos we've taken. Making sure that the date, time, and location are all filled in, we can now hit the What Did You See button to pull up iNaturalist's suggestions for the photo. The app has a surprisingly strong algorithm to help you identify your pictures. You can see it's already picked out the cattail genus and is suggesting broadleaf and narrow-leaved cattails as the most likely species based on the photo and the location it was found. Now, I'm no cattail expert, and it's hard to distinguish between the two at the time of the year I took the photo, so I'm just going to keep it at the genus level for now, and hopefully someone with more expertise will suggest a more specific category for me later. So, let's get this observation published. Mark says when people like me get out here, we're helping our physical and our mental health. And we're also learning more about these environments, which may help us do a better job of protecting them.
We're not very good at protecting natural spaces right now. And I think it's key to our own health going forward, as well as that of other organisms and entire ecosystems.
Do you have any advice for people who are getting out into the outdoors for the first time?
Respect nature, clean up after yourselves and tread lightly on this earth so that you leave nothing more than out there, and anything you took with you, you make sure you bring back with you. I grew up in scouting, and there was the whole concept of no trace camping. Make it seem like you've never been there.
We have been seeing a lot of people outdoors over the past year. One poll by the Nature Conservancy of Canada found that more than 90% of people say that spending time outdoors has helped them get through the pandemic. I've been using iNaturalist as a tool to identify plants and animals for a few years now, but over the course of the pandemic, I've been using it more and more to find natural spaces near me. That's how I found this marsh.
Basically, all initiatives have to start locally in some way, and they certainly all have to involve local engagement in some way.
Now that we've made our own observation, let's explore what others have submitted in the Ottawa area. We can see just how many submissions there are in the marsh, but now if we zoom out to look at all of Ottawa, look at all those dots. So not only can iNaturalist help you identify your own finds, it can also help you discover something you may not have realized was right outside your door.
There really has to be kind of across all of these different scales, from big international organizations to local groups, but it really does not work unless there are local groups and people acting locally. And so in our case, we feel very strongly that as more and more people in our society have moved to urban areas, it's been harder for us to connect with nature.
So you see, I'm not just playing in the dirt. This is good for my health and it's good for the planet. In Ottawa, I'm Kayla Holmes.